getting sleepy.
I get a lot of sleep last night.
I am here for you, lovely people who listen to this shit for some reason.
Hello.
As in, woke up specifically to record this, presumably before I go right back to bed. So, that's always fun and never messes up my immune system or sleep schedule in the slightest. I say sleep schedule. I don't really have a schedule, but it does bad things and messes up my rhythm on every level, and that usually ends up with my taking medication schedule getting fucked up too. Anyway,
Mm.
but that's all cool. I'm here. Hello, everybody.
Hello. I'm just I slept well. I am currently free. I'm done with student teaching.
Oh, you're finished.
Yep. So what comes next is just finishing up work with applying for completing this huge massive project thing, and then once I'm done with that, and I'm going to continue into the master's program to get a master's degree, but I'll also get a teaching credential, so that I can actually start being a regular teacher, getting the big money. Well, not huge, but decent.
Yeah.
Better than what I made the last 4 months, which was not a lot. So, because you don't get paid for student teaching in America.
Yeah, but I mean, you would be able to do more substitute teaching, which, from my understanding, pays a little better than like regular teaching, but is more
Uh,
sporadic.
it it was paying better, a little bit better, during the pandemic because huge need. Now it's still paying pretty good. Like you get like $175 a day in the current district that I substitute in for substitute teaching, which is very nice for like working for like what 6 7 hours. So still a good amount, but I can actually get money again. It's just um money being the problem and not having enough of it because couldn't really teach like
Yeah.
substitute teach and then also expenses. But you were talking to me about you were very excited to talk about Sonic Frontiers.
Yeah. So that game's pretty good. So I guess that's pretty much it for Sonic Frontiers. I think we can move on.
So you enjoyed it then?
I did. Um, there are some misgivings that I feel like would be addressed if they were given a budget. for one thing, from what I've read online, which take it with all of the fucking salt because no one is reliable for discussing anything on any even mainstream news website anymore. So the game didn't get a whole lot of support from Sega, is a thing that I have read, allegedly, which explains why the open world segments are what they are. They are very straightforward and absolutely are basically very simple level edited sequences of put a thing here and then drop like if it was actually done in an in-game level editor a la Mario Maker or something, and just kind of plopped on the map in various locations of grind rails and wall jumps and such in
Mm-hmm.
sequence. Um, like I would probably say the open world segments are the weakest part of the game, but
Interesting.
that actually speaks to the quality of the game overall because they're not bad. They're not great. I'm not even sure I would call them good. They are acceptable.
I like the open world segments of the later islands. I feel like there's some stuff that really flows well together when you're trying to speed run through an area.
I
Though there is
mean,
still some awkwardness.
you can tell by the look of the environment is absolutely god awful. It is trash. It is the
Mm,
most bare bones basic level design artistically. Let's put it that way.
yeah.
Like it is a foresty place, a deserty place, a volcano-y place that only looks volcano-y after you finished it, but before that is just rocks. And then shit, I think the fifth island is just foresty place again.
Yeah. And you also see that in the cyberspace levels of them just reusing the four like texture packs basically.
Yeah, kind of. I think it was more than four. I think it was like six. But yeah, they very much do reuse those for those sequences, but those sequences are a lot more intricately designed than like they are designed to be levels and play as such.
Hmm.
Whereas for the most part, in the open world sequences, when you get on a running course to get one of the things that you don't really need to collect, um, they are designed for you to be able to jump in and jump out at your leisure, most of the time. Uh, and most of the time, you also don't need to do them, like I say, because the there are a few different types of collectibles in this game, and I think Zero mentioned it on the last podcast that I recorded like a month ago. Uh, we you don't actually have to get any of them in the open world or in the levels or anything because you can just fucking buy them from the fishing minigame.
Yeah. If you want to just go fishing, you can do that.
Yeah, which
I
is weird, but yeah, okay. It means that I really don't need to care about going around the open world and collecting every single one of those little icons on the map, which is nice.
I know some people who want to go and just 100% the map and do that,
Mm.
which, more power to them. Um,
I mean,
I,
100%ing the map it is literally a thing they quantify, and it does not include getting every
yeah,
single thing on the map.
yeah, but they want to go do it. And
Yeah.
like, there's some really cool areas on the map that you gain access to by going through those little challenges.
Mm.
Um, as in like there are straight up levels within the overworld that you will run into that are like extended sequences, not just like, oh, hit a jump pad once and then grind on a rail and there you go, but like actually fully like there's like a handful that feel like actual like mini levels.
Mm. Yeah. Um. So yeah, the open world is a little lackluster. There's mini bosses on the open world which are probably the thing that they spent the most time designing on the open world, which is fair enough because there's a big heavy focus on combat for this game, which works way better than it has any right to. But we'll get back to
Yeah, I
that.
know. It's
Uh,
it's actually really good.
yeah. Um, and yeah, that's all Uh, the only other real criticism I have for that open world is, oh boy, there was one point that really, really pissed me off about it, which was like halfway through the third stage, where you, the sequence of the game is one of the other characters is on the level and they're trapped in cyberspace, and you follow them around the map. By which I mean the game tells you to go to a certain place and go talk to them, which requires one of the collectibles that you don't really need to worry about collecting. Um, and you do that a bunch of times. You do a couple of goofy side missions that feel a little bit out of place for how few of them there are. Um, and then gradually get Chaos Emeralds via that for reasons that are not especially well explained. And in the course of doing this whole rigmarole, uh, you get a thing to find Tails in the third level, and he is standing on a little platform that free floats in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a canyon.
Yes, this was infuriating.
Yeah.
I know exactly which part you're talking about, and I 100% agree with you. I despised the like
I
I
had to
didn't
look it up.
I didn't even look it up. I what I ended up doing was there's an enemy that you can use to glide, and I
Oh,
just
cheesed
I
it.
yeah. I went and I just glided over there. I didn't even. It looked like there was a whole big thing that might be like a level or something that I didn't even interact with. It was like, how do I even get over there?
Would you like to know how that's supposed to work?
Yeah.
So, this one little platform that Tails is standing on is at one end of this canyon. Now, the way that
Mhm.
you get to it is you go all the way around the edge of the canyon where Tails is supposed to be, and you look for a spring or something, or a rail or something that could potentially get you there. You get trapped in the 2D sequence uh, rail shit and everything about a dozen times because there is no way to get out of those once you're in one until you like either finish it or go back to the beginning somehow if you can. Uh, it's the worst part of the third level, by the way. All of them are like that. They're awful. Um,
Yeah, the third
so
island's the worst.
yeah, you get frustrated and you go, okay, where the fuck is this thing? Okay, I'm gonna run around the other side. There has to be something like there's another big platform that's nearby that one, and it's on the other end of the canyon. It's like, okay, what's probably going on here is I'm supposed to go to the other huge, bigger platform first, and there's like a rail or something between them, but you can't see it because the draw distance doesn't go that far. So that's
Mm.
probably what you have to do, I'm guessing, because like I say, the draw distance doesn't go that far. Okay, let's go around the edge of that side of the canyon so I can try and get to the bigger platform first. Okay, I'm not finding a grind rail or a spring or anything on this side of the canyon either, and I've
Oh no.
gotten trapped in another 2 dozen stupid fucking 2D rail sequences. So,
Oh.
I am getting annoyed now, and at this point, you look it up, and it turns out that there is a spring that will cross the entire fucking chasm for you, and it is on top of a like structure that is just sort of sitting there, has no indication you need to climb it, and it is hidden inside a crate.
That is the worst.
Yeah, it's awful. It is the worst bit of game design I have seen in a Sonic game, and it baffles me because it is in quite possibly the best designed Sonic game that has come out since it came out in 3D.
It's it's so weird. Like I said, I just parried an enemy and glided right over to it, and I guess cheesed it
Yeah.
because there I was looking around. There was one on a upper cliff, not too far away. So I had to bait it over a little bit and then do that. But wow,
Yeah, that was
that's awful.
that was a thing. I don't know why they designed it that way. Like the entrance point for even getting to him is so far away from he is that it's absolutely baffling. Yeah. So that was a very frustrating couple of hours for me trying to figure that out until I just gave up and looked it up. Yeah. Must have added a good hour to my playtime on its own, at least.
Did you, did you beat the game?
Yeah, I finished it. Um, so we should probably talk about the boss fights, by which I mean we should talk about the combat. Uh, whew.
It feels good.
I never imagined that Sonic would have good combat.
It is combat that obviously you unlock some things through a skill tree, but you fill it up pretty fast.
Yeah, that skill tree is fucking stupid. Like, it's
Yeah.
so easy.
But like I understand why they did it to introduce people to the combat, I guess, a bit slower because
Yeah, I
it's such a
guess.
new thing for Sonic. Um, but once you have that full thing unlocked, it's really fun.
Mm,
It's simple, but you have options and buttons you can push to go into different combos and do different things.
mm. I mean, efficiency wise, it's probably best to just hold the left trigger, like start a combo and then hold the left trigger, and it will just do a fuckload of damage. And then when you unlock the upgraded version of that, do that instead. But that's
The
boring.
stomp does a ton of damage. Like
In terms of
and
DPS, like I can't believe we're talking about DPS in a Sonic game. The fucking trigger thing is faster. It is.
it does.
I've played it on hard mode, and damage efficiency became a very important factor when I was playing
Yeah,
the fucking
I
first
was I was
boss.
I was playing on hard mode as well. And doing the sonic booms versus doing a normal combo and doing the stomp. The stomp did way more damage
You sure?
and
Okay.
was way faster.
I also
Because
found the stomp to be kind of finicky, to be perfectly honest, especially
mm,
in the first boss fight. But yeah, that's a different conversation. Yeah.
it
So, go on. Sorry.
it's really the homing shot I think is the most where you do a whole animation and you create a bunch of different orbs around you that you fire. It's so slow and doesn't do a lot of damage at all.
And occasionally gets in the way when you're trying to do other things because if memory serves, the sequence for it is right trigger and then A, which are the dash and homing buttons respectively.
Yeah, no, it's not great.
Yeah, it's a little. It may have occasionally killed me by accident because it
But
stops you dead in the middle of the air.
yeah, and like that being said, um, I like all the mini bosses and the way that you interact with them and have to fight them and is very different for each one. And
Mm.
one thing I also like with is that each the mini bosses are chosen for each region in a way where like there are many bosses that will have mechanics that are then expanded upon in the Titan boss.
Yes. Oh, you just kind of reminded me about the mini bosses in open world. Okay, one more complaint about the open world. It does not need to reset the map.
Yeah,
That fucking Legend of Zelda bullshit, don't fucking do that. There's no need to do that. Not at all. In fact, it
there
makes the game actively worse.
there is no need to constantly reset the spawns of bosses and such
Yeah.
because the materials that they drop have no usage because by the time that you fought them already, you have enough gears to go unlock all the stages.
Yeah,
Um,
you can just get gears by seeing the little blue marker and going woo around it, and it will usually either give you one of the currencies that you need or another of the currencies that you need. So if you just keep hitting those whenever you see them, you will get more resources than you could ever do anything with.
yeah, but the supersonic fights are definitely like the best thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So my experience for the first one of those, like I say, um, in fairness, it wasn't because it was on hard that I needed to be very efficient with my damage. It was because I forgot about the Psyloop mechanic, um,
Oh.
and I happened to go into it with very few rings.
Mm-hmm.
And what the game does is it starts you with 100 rings for the supersonic fights if you don't have enough. Which, if you remember, you can still Psyloop when you supersonic is not that big a deal. If you remember that,
I didn't even remember that.
yeah, that is still a thing you can do.
I thought that was one on the ground.
Hmm. Uh, so yeah, I had 100 seconds to finish that first boss fight, and I did it. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
put a feather in my cap for that one. But yeah, that basically required doing it fully perfectly.
Did you do the quick side loop on the boss?
I did not do that. I did not know you could do that until I watched a. Who did I watch play it? I can't remember. Um, it was a fucking streamer. Yeah, it was just a streamer who was a Sonic fan who just happened to come up in my feed, and I'm like, I want to see their reaction to the boss. That's
Mm-hmm.
literally,
That's the feeling, right?
yeah. That's the one you want to see, and it was satisfying. But yeah, I didn't know you could do that until I saw that guy do that, and
And you just send them flying up into the air.
yep. Oh.
And they don't use supersonic just once. They use supersonic multiple times.
Yeah, here is your boss fight mechanic, is what that is.
And I love it. I hope that they have stated before that this is kind of their test run for the format they want to have with games going forward and that they're accepting feedback. Um,
Yeah.
they very much are like, we've been all struggling to find out where Sonic is going to go and how to best use 3D Sonic. So this is our idea. We are looking at feedback and criticisms and all that, which I really respect.
Hmm.
Because they
And
want
people are
to.
being pretty good about sending those and like giving good feedback because this is the closest they've been to a good game for a long time. But
They
by
just
which I
patched
mean
it
they
like
actually made
yesterday.
a good game.
They just did a patch yesterday, and they also announced additional DLC that is all free.
Yeah.
With new content, challenge modes and stuff, camera mode, as well as additional story with playable Amy, Knuckles, and Tails.
Yeah, eventually, like that is the last thing on the list of
Yeah.
what they're going to do. So it's going to take a while, uh, but yeah. Um,
One thing I really liked about Sonic Frontiers, though, was the characterization.
Sage is a little squish, and I want to squish her face like a squish.
I love Sage. And I also just feel like it's not like all the characters are just making their quips and their corny jokes 100 miles a minute. You have one-on-one conversations with Sonic and each of these characters, and throughout that, these characters are, realizing, hey, I have a goal or a dream that I want to go fulfill. It may cause us to, go our separate ways for a bit, but I'm really confident about doing this,
Hmm.
you know. And
Yeah,
Amy was actually like not annoying.
Yeah. They have real conversations that are not just plot vehicles of, hey, Sonic, you need to go and do this thing now because you're the protagonist who needs to do all the things. I'm gonna wait here while you go and do the thing. Oh, you did the thing? Well done, Sonic. Now go do this other thing. No, they have actual conversations about their particular um, motivations and what they're all about, which means we actually get to see what Amy is all about outside of uh, an animated show,
Hmm.
which is really neat. I think the last time. I know Sonic Boom might have done that, but no one played Sonic Boom because it was shit.
The Sonic Boom show did a lot to repair Amy as a character,
Yeah.
and they took a lot of those writing decisions forward.
Yeah, and I noticed that it seems to be a lot of stuff that they took from Sonic Adventure 1 when she was playable. Like, she did
Hmm.
have a personality and character of her own in that game. If you only played the Sonic campaign, then you only know the part of it where she's like, "Oh, Sonic," but like in her campaign, she had her own thing that was going on, which was trying to save a, but like protecting animals and such. And now she is all about love and what that means to people, and she wants to bring love to the world and such. And that part is apparently from Sonic Boom, I'm guessing. Um,
Um, Not 100% sure on if that originates from that or maybe even the comics, actually.
could be the comics. Um, but yeah, they all get very real and very practical conversations. And by practical, I don't mean like, again, the go do objective conversations. I mean, here is the situation. Here is what our priorities really need to be. I disagree because I feel strongly about this. Yeah, you can feel strongly about it, but you're kind of in the middle of a situation where you might die. So, can we focus on you first?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I guess you're right. Like,
the Amy and Saw conversation where Amy's like, "I gotta leave somebody in need." He's like, "Get no, but I care about you.
you're in
You're the
need
one in the
too.
life or death situation here. So, like, we can prioritize you here." And she's just like, "Yeah, well, thanks. You're right." And
It is a
it's
little
just,
weird that she goes, "Yeah, you're right," and then they just continue to follow the other thing.
yeah.
But you know, so yeah, that the character writing stuff is really, really strong. It's really strong.
Um, the way Knuckles and Sonic interact, you can definitely see. Yeah, they're still kind of buds, but they're also kind of rivals still.
I feel like Knuckles and Sonic was the weakest part of it,
I
but
agree.
that's fine. Like that's kind of the point almost, is like that they are both very, I mean, they're supposed to be diametrically opposed characters, and they both have their own thing going on. They were here for entirely different reasons
Hmm.
and came separately, and they kind of just don't really need to have that strong interaction. They're just sort of there by convenience of just like, hey,
Knuckles' whole thing is that he's a loner.
yeah, he doesn't chuckle.
Hmm. And then the Tails stuff as well is I think I really like what they do with Tails.
Yeah, yeah, tail stuff is good. Part of the worst level in the game, but it's good.
And even Eggman, and how Eggman's relationship with Sage kind of humanizes him.
Yeah. Hmm. There are things I want to say, but we would be getting into spoil the pants territory.
Yeah. Um, I mean, it's been like a month.
It has. I mean, we could do the usual thing of like, hey, just skip a minute or two ahead. I mean,
Okay.
it's pretty standard for Sonic games of, hey, here's this new character. Spoilers. They fucking bite it by the end. In a grand self-sacrificial gesture a la Shadow or whomever else, you could literally fucking pull a name out of a hat and it'd be the same thing. E102 or fucking shit. Sonic in 2006 technically. Anyway, yeah, that ending kind of hurt for how understated it was, because she does her big thing and then everyone's celebrating and then you just see Eggman standing on a cliff and it doesn't, no dialogue, just him standing there and just by body language says everything. It's really well done.
The body language is great. And then it immediately goes to the ending song, which is a follow-up gut punch.
I'm just gonna say this is a really minor quibble, but hey, guys, developers, you can skip any cutscene or pause any cutscene except for the end credits and the ending sequence. Guess whose grocery delivery showed up while he was doing the final, while he just finished the final boss?
Oh,
I had to look it up on YouTube because it didn't let me do anything. Yep, that's really shitty. Don't do that. Like, let people skip. No one outside of businesses care about the credits, so just let us skip them. If not, let us pause them so we can just fucking do other stuff, because stuff needs to happen sometimes. Anyway, minor gripe that really kind of ruined that moment for me. But yeah. So that was cool. The final boss is bad.
the final boss, they stated in interviews, yeah, no, they basically by the end of the game, they were out of time and money, so that's kind of how things ended up that way, which is understandable. I would have liked something much more, but you know, what you gonna do? Hoping that we get to see some more fun bosses with the additional story DLC, because they'll actually have funding this time.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, okay, that's a really stupid sequence for a final boss, but hey, Nier Automata did it, I guess. That feels like a really stupid reason to give it a free pass. What they probably should have done, though, is give a more thorough tutorial on Ikaruga, because, hey, if that's your fucking final boss fight, people should probably know how that game works better than...
The thing is, if you're not playing on hard, you don't get that last bit.
What do you mean, that last bit?
The shooting part, the Ikaruga part, you don't get that if you're playing on normal.
Oh, it doesn't make you do it.
No, it goes straight to you beat Supreme, and it goes to the hitting the X button to, handle it.
Wow, that sounds even more anticlimactic.
Yes. And particularly because Supreme is the worst of the Titans.
Yeah, a little bit.
And that's where you can definitely feel like budget was dying. Because every other boss, you will like parry them, and then you do a super cool attack. Yeah. But Supreme, it is just a repeat of the attack from Giganto. So like I could tell that that their budget was done really fast.
Yeah, I mean, the quote-unquote fourth island was just the other half of the first island, including places you can actually go in the first island. Mm-hmm. And the fifth island was just a new designed for the first island biome. So it was. Yeah.
I really do enjoy though how they made everything canon. And like, screw it, we're gonna just acknowledge it. We're gonna move on. It's all canon. Shut up. We're acknowledging past games. They
Yeah.
happened. That plays into the characters and how they're developing.
Do you think Sonic has PTSD from 06?
He doesn't remember.
Fair enough.
That's the pass that 06 gets. Everybody forgot because it never ended up happening.
Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot about
that. That's how that game ends. It was undone. So we always have the easy pass.
Okay then.
But yeah, I really like the game, even though it is, design wise definitely a 7 out of 10.
It has its flaws, but I feel like if ever there is a reason to grade on a goddamn curve.
Yeah, exactly. Grading on a curve, especially as like a Sonic fan, I rate it higher, because they actually hired people. They formed a team of people to maintain lore consistency as well, which it really shows. Ian Flynn is, of course, on that team. And because the Sonic IDW comics are canon, I went and I read them.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Like, those are the ones that started in 2018, right?
Yep, the ones that started in 2018, I went and I read them all. They're good. I actually really enjoyed them. Some of the comics have a bit of some comics have really good art. Some of them, the artists, I feel like just used 3D models and it looks terrible. But most of them are really good. The writing is still good and the characters are, it's well written, I never felt like it was bad. I like how they introduced occasional new villains and even made use of the Deadly Seven or Deadly Six? Deadly Six. They made use of those characters in actual interesting ways in the comics, which is more than they got in the actual game they're from. So, yeah, I there's like 54 issues and I read them all because, hey, Sonic mentioned Tangle. Who's Tangle? It's like, oh yeah, Tangle, the squirrel girl with a really powerful tail that helped in the frickin' robot zombie apocalypse that happened. Because, damn it, Eggman. Damn it.
Yeah, that sounds like something straight out of fucking Satam.
Yeah.
In fact, that literally was something from Satam. It was basically all the robots were basically zombies.
And, that's a whole arc.
God damn.
There's a...
I watched a single episode of that show, and it was Sonic's dad, who was already turned into a robot, but could occasionally be brought back to complete sense with the power of rings.
There's
and
nothing...
It eventually stopped working, and holy shit, that was dark.
Like, that freaking... The thing about the zombie apocalypse arc in the comics is... people get you get to see characters get grabbed by the zombie robots and they just get pulled under and then just everybody's just screaming and it's awful. And then it's just like, hey Eggman, did you prepare an antidote for this? And he's like, why would I ever do that? All I have to do is not get infected. It's like, oh no.
On brand. Like, that's a you problem.
Yeah, no, it's fun. I recommend those.
I fly around in a bubble car. Why don't you do that?
There's even a whole arc where Eggman like loses his memory and becomes Mr. Tinkerer, who's just a happy-go-lucky guy who repairs things around a village.
Oh man, is it? They don't call him Kintobor, do they?
No.
Damn it. That was from like the fucking way early on Genesis manuals. I think was like, yeah, he was originally Ovi Kintobor or something like that. And then stuff happened and he turned evil.
And then he turned into Ivo Robotnik.
Yeah.
Kintobor Robotnik. Haha, get it? It's backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Sonic Frontiers is good. The movies are good. The comics are good. It's actually looking up for Sonic, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about?
The Steam sale happened. Autumn
Anything
sale. Good? Yay. Steam sale that was actually kind of okay as far as Steam sales go. Like, they've been shit for so long. This one was actually pretty good.
I didn't really get anything out of it because I was busy. And again, money.
Yeah, working for no pay and such. Yeah.
Yep.
I saw a thing that I was curious about for a while and thought, hey, fuck it, I'm gonna get the thing, and try it out. And that was Atelier Ryza.
Oh. Any good?
That game has an intricate crafting system.
Isn't that game all about crafting?
Yeah. So, people are probably a lot of people are probably familiar with Racketeer as a game concept of like, hey, go into the dungeon and stuff and do all that, but not really to be the big hero, but because you're a fucking merchant and shit, and you need merchandise to sell.
You need your materials.
Yeah, it's kind of that vibe, only not quite. So far, I'm still kind of barely in the tutorial, but it's sort of like, hey, this happy-go-lucky girl has some friends, and they go out to have an adventure, and they run across a couple of people that are super cool, and one of them just throws a grenade at the monster they're fighting, and it dies immediately, and this girl is like, ooh, that was cool, me want. Which...
Advanced weaponry, let's go.
Yeah. So she's like, I want to be an alchemist. And dude's like, okay, cool. Let's see if you don't suck at it. And if you don't suck at it, then I'll give you a book. And that's basically the extent of her training. So you learn how to do it. And then it's off to the races of you running around town, getting whatever crap you can find, and then seeing if you can put it together into cool things. And the way that crafting system works is kind of nuts a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh boy, to the point where I'm not even sure I would be able to explain it, because I'm still only kind of getting to grips with it after 7 hours of playtime. So yeah, it's pretty.
What, do you have to craft materials to then craft more materials to craft materials to make the thing?
Yes.
Okay, because that's what I was figuring when you're mentioning its complexity.
So the way it works is you need to get... there are basic ingredients for every recipe. If you get the basic ingredients, you can make the thing. the better you get at alchemy, the more ingredients you can put into the thing to make more powerful versions of the same item. So, say for example, if a recipe needs a medicinal flower, then you put in the medicinal flower, and that is the thing that you need. Cool, we're all aces. Or you could put in more medicinal flowers and make it stronger and a better item. And then there are other ingredients that you can add that are additional that will give it certain traits that it will imbue when you use that item. And you can do the same thing with those, and it will give you more traits. And then if you use certain slightly offbeat items, it will unlock new sections on the crafting map, because it's a map.
Okay.
That will add even more unusual effects, and sometimes there will be new recipes that you can unlock by doing that, by putting in another certain item that will change it to a different item completely, which will start you off on a brand new map, starting over from the beginning. So you can make that new item instead. And
you're crafting all of this to get money?
I'm not entirely sure yet. Like I say, I am 7 hours in. I am closing on the end of the tutorial.
Okay.
You can get money from it. You can also upgrade your equipment and such by doing that.
So is your goal to like clear dungeons and
Your goal is to be good at alchemy. Seems to be what I'm getting so far. Like
what's the plot?
there has so far been no like villain or anything of the sort. Like the most significant villainous figure so far has been the guy who basically runs town because he has control of the water source, and it's just a small village, so that means he's basically God. That is the most significant villainous figure in the game, and even then it's kind of he's a dick. That's about it. There are monsters. That is a thing that exists, but not in the island that you start at. So that's the whole adventure that starts out is you basically steal a rowboat and go to this other island where you meet other people who kick off the plot of, hey, I want to be good at alchemy, and that's basically the entire plot so far. And one of your party members has a dad who is kind of an abusive alcoholic. Okay, that was surprisingly dark for how everything else in the game has been so far. But,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay, yeah, no villain, but this guy over there, his dad's an abusive alcoholic.
Yeah,
The true villains are the personal ones.
kind of feels like where this is going. Yes, a little bit. Like there's a whole thing with one of your other party members is trying to translate ancient books from an old extinct civilization, but again, no hint of any kind of conflict worth speaking of in terms of major plot. But that's fine. Frankly, I'm having fun with just a nice laid back adventure kind of feel.
Yeah, it seems to me, from my understanding, from obviously I haven't played it, is that it is more like side quest or side story focused rather than one big plot of saving the world or something.
Yeah, is what again? It's what it seems like so far. Still being in
You're
the
still
tutorial.
tutorial. Okay, well, good luck with the tutorial.
I mean, I'm having fun with it, and they made some choices with the character designs.
Yeah, I remember I saw a clip of Kiara watching uh, Riza climb through a small hole, and the camera angle was rather nice.
Yes, the main character has been nicknamed Thyza is my understanding.
Yeah.
Not that it would encourage me to buy any kind of costume DLC like swimsuits or anything.
So how much did you spend?
Uh, the season pass is like £24 on sale.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought.
As was the season pass for the second game. That's fine. It's okay.
Anything else?
Anything else? Is there anything else I've been doing? Because
Yeah, anything else you've been doing?
uh,
Because I can talk about Pokemon if you want.
I have nothing. Like, it would just be talking about gacha bullshit, and I don't think that's even worth talking about myself, let alone for anyone listening.
All right. Personal stuff first. Yeah, I finished student teaching. The kids all got me. Every kid wrote me a letter. It was super sweet. You know, I was student teaching for second grade, so they're all 8 years old. You know, and I built a good relationship with all of them. And I got the cooperating master teacher got me a big drink mug thing, like a water bottle, sealable, reusable, that has my name on it. And I got framed photos of the class, and I got a $25 gift card from one of the parents for a local sushi place. So I went out for sushi last night with my family. It was great. And it was just a really heartwarming thing, and I felt like I actually really made a difference for those kids, which is great feeling to have.
No.
It's funny because I'm working to be a teacher right now, and one of the main features in the new Pokemon Scarlet Violet game is the school.
Oh God.
All right. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is a game I have very complicated emotions towards.
Can we talk about the stupid stuff first and get it out of the way?
So, that game is broken.
Okay, I guess not. Okay.
What stupid stuff?
One, they brought back the stupid fucking Pokemon school from the anime, which asks dumb trick questions that are just there to fuck you over. Like, if you have $2,000 and a Pokeball is 200, how many can you buy? And they're like, it's not 10, it's 11 because you get a Premier Ball. Well, that's not a Pokeball, is it? It's a Premier Ball, so that doesn't count. Fuck you. Trick question bullshit. It's a Jigglypuff seen from above. Fuck you.
I love it. The game is... I had a lot of fun playing the game. The writing is much better and much stronger than Sword and Shield. The characters are much better. Moving around the world is great, and the battles are great. All the new Pokemon are awesome.
From everything
new abilities,
I've heard,
new moves.
It is the best designed Pokemon game, and also the worst bug tested and running game.
Okay, so the game has an issue, which is that it should not have come out this year. It should not have come out this year.
I believe that on every level, especially considering Arceus came out this year as well.
Yes, Arceus. By the way, there are credits for staff members from Arceus listed in the credits of Scarlet Violet, which means those people got pulled immediately after that game came out to go work on Scarlet Violet.
Arceus. And yeah, there was no reason for that. Like, two things. One, it could have been pushed 3 months back and it would have done fine. It would have been another beginning of the year Pokemon release, like Arceus, that did very well, and it would have been technically in the financial year. That would have been fine. They wouldn't have cared, and it would have given the game more time to be more polished, and it wouldn't have had the reputation of, wow, I feel really ambivalent about this because this game is so well designed, but also it runs like shit.
To share my experience,
Hmm.
I have beaten the game. I have completed the Pokedex. So I've done all that stuff,
Yeah.
and I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
They took
Pokemon.
some elements from PLA, um, such as the ability to just nickname your Pokemon whenever you want, remember moves or forget moves whenever you want, just by going into the menu, stuff like that. Super good, right? You can
Yeah.
even turn off prompts like you want to learn a new move, you can just turn that off and make it a little bit more like PLA, right?
Hmm.
Um, they also the game is supposed to run at like 30 FPS. It barely does ever. The draw distance is extremely short, and if people are like 40 feet away from you, they start going at like 2 frames a second, or like not 2 frames. They go start going like at 2 frames versus 2 frames a second. They start slowing their frame count just drops dramatically, and when you are in a battle, regularly the camera will clip through the wall and show you underneath the world regularly. Um, there's a huge memory leak issue, which means the longer you play the game, the worse the bugs will get, and the worse the performance will get. Multiple people have. It's pretty common for people to fall through the world, and yeah, it is so broken that Nintendo recently came out and when they dropped the most recent patch, which fixed some bugs and the performance somewhat, Nintendo's like, we're gonna keep continuing to improve this. We're listening to feedback. Like Nintendo is very taking this very seriously, which means it's rare that they actually do that when a game comes out, like this.
Yeah. Like, I. I mean, Pokemon is still a second-party title. Like, they are
Yes.
not directly responsible for any of this, which is surprising for them to say, "Hey, mea culpa." Like that's.
Let me find the
Maybe Game Freak and Pokemon Company refuse to do that?
there was a quote from we take the feedback from players seriously and will continue to work on improvements to the games, was what they said.
That's a really weird thing for Nintendo to say.
They also, in the patch notes, it says, we are aware that players may encounter issues that affect the game's performance. Our goal is to always give players a positive experience with their games, and we apologize for the inconvenience. We take the feedback from players seriously and are working on improvements to the games. So Nintendo is taking this seriously.
That's still weird.
Well, the Pokemon Company has been silent on the matter. So Nintendo speaking up.
Yeah. Someone has to do damage control.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't like the Pokemon Company.
Yeah, no, I don't like them either. They've been. I went back to PLA, and that game runs so much better. And that game was flawed when it came out with pop in and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
there's
that
a
game
point where
runs.
that's just the system that it's running on more than anything else.
That game runs so much better. than Scarlet Violet.
Hmm.
It's to the point where you unlock the boost function on your mount, your Koraidon or Miraidon in Scarlet Violet, and when you activate the boost, it doesn't actually make a difference because the game has to render more because you're moving faster, so the game slows down. So you're not actually moving that much faster, even though you're boosting because of all the slowdown.
Hmm. I know that Nintendo don't like to like push the cutting edge, and they really want this to also be a portable system. That's cool. You need
I don't blame the console though, because there are other games that look way better than Scarlet and Violet and run consistently at like 30 or even 60. This is not it is not impossible to do this. And especially with how
look
low.
better and render more are different conversations.
Yeah, but they do render more. Xenoblade 3 is obviously, those people at Smallest off, but that game renders more. It has nearly, like, it's a huge open world game with none of the issues that I'm seeing in Scarlet Violet.
Mm.
And I don't blame the console. I blame the fact that this game was rushed and the fact that I can see
Mm.
obviously repeating textures on the rocks that look like this thing was freaking made in RPG Maker.
Mm.
And the fact that you have terrain that looks barely sculpted to look natural a lot of the time.
Mm.
The fact that there's actually only really 3 real towns in the game, um, with multiple stores that you can go into, or how you encounter basically 0 buildings outside in the open world, and how you can't enter most buildings to begin with. You go into a store and you know what you see? You see a menu pop up. You don't even go actually inside the store.
Mm.
There's very few interiors actually modeled.
Yeah, like the store thing is the part where it is like that's kind of not good. Like you hear about you can't go into many of the buildings. That's so fucking common as a video game thing of like, hey, there are buildings here. They are literally just cubes with textures painting on them. They're not important. Don't pay too much attention to them. I want to go in all the buildings though. Why? What's in there? Nothing? Oh, why do you want to go in then? But like not being able to actually go into important locations that have purpose is kind of shitty. Like, yeah.
The open world feels like, obviously there's like, oh, all these Pokemon to catch, but ends up feeling very empty. Um, Trainers are kind of thrown around in random places, and you have to talk to them to start a battle.
I mean,
Um,
none of that sounds
which
bad.
it's not
Like,
really an issue, but if you want to get, it's kind of like, I don't know, everything just feels really rushed, and of course it was because this game should not have come out this year. The Pokemon models themselves look amazing because Bandai Namco made them. So like Magnemite has a fully reflective surface. Looks great. But yeah, the performance issue is really, really a big shame because um I like the game a lot.
hmm.
So the way the game works is you have essentially 3 storylines that
Yep.
you're pursuing,
Yep.
each one tied to different characters,
Yep.
which are, going and fighting the Titan Pokemon, which, going through that, you unlock different abilities for your Miraidon or Koraidon. Uh, Miraidon and Koraidon to basically travel through the world more. Like you beat this Titan in this boss fight, and then you gain access to the ability to climb or the ability to swim, right?
Yeah.
And you're also doing that, and you're learning about Arven's storyline and what he's about. And it's actually really good writing, and everybody really likes Arven. I like Arven a lot. Then you have the Team Star storyline, where you're learning about what they're all about, and you go into their bases, and you have to use auto battle to defeat like 30 Pokemon, and then the boss appears, and those are actually really hard fights. There's no level scaling though, so I mean that's fine as long as you are kind of following along. Like, oh, levels are about here, so I should be over here. That works, but it ends up being a case where it's if you're wanting to explore in high level areas, you might just end up uh, over leveling. You know,
Yeah.
um,
I mean, that's pretty much how RPGs should work, in my opinion. So I'm not gonna complain about that.
the Team Star stuff is fun though, and I like the battles. I felt like those were some of the most difficult content. The gym battles are they're okay. They're nothing really
They're a
huge
reason to spend time with your Saiyan wife, who
with
is very
Nimona.
forcibly your wife. She's not really
Oh,
taking no for an answer.
I love Nimona. She's great.
Everyone does.
She's a great rival because she's already champion level. Her entire arc is I want to see you get strong so I can fight you,
Yeah.
and I love it.
Ugh. Mm. Yeah. Everyone loves her.
And
Mm.
after you do those three storylines, there's a fourth storyline which has a really like epic conclusion to the game.
Yeah, I've had that spoiled for me.
Dang, that sucks.
No, I don't mind. It was interesting.
But I really like how that was executed, and I like the new Pokemon they added, and shiny hunting is actually pretty fun. The raids are actually kind of fun. Whereas they used to be all locked to turns, they are now time based, which means you and the people you're in a raid with are not synced up on having to stay on the same turn. So just do what you want, do it fast. You can do cheers to buff the party with offense, defense, or heal them,
Hmm.
and it's really fun, and it's something that I think that you can have a lot of fun with, especially if you're playing with people online. Which the multiplayer is really good because what you do is you all go into the same world, and if you have people from multiple different versions, that means version exclusives will appear in everybody's world.
Hmm.
So if you and you don't you can be separate from each other. You can be on the other side of the map and still be in the same world with somebody, and you can still advance the main story and do things. You're just passively in the same world.
Hmm.
So really great. And if you want to do a raid, you go and you go pick out the crystal that you go to the raid crystal. Like, I want to do this, join with others, and then everybody else that's in your world will get a prompt sent to them of like, hey, do you want to join this raid? And they just hit Y and then they enter. And you guys can just instantly go and do it all.
Hmm.
So it's really convenient. So I really do enjoy the way they've implemented that, and there's a lot of things that they did to bring everything forward. They rebalanced all of the move lists and move pools and everything.
Hmm.
It's a great game. It takes a lot of steps forward, but at the same time, compared to Arceus,
Arceus.
it takes steps backwards.
Thank you for stopping for a second so I could correct you.
Yeah.
Like, you could learn to actually pronounce it properly, but instead you've learned to give me an extra second to tell you you're fucking wrong. I don't know whether I like that more or less.
But yeah, no, they definitely took steps backwards. And of course they did, because the team that worked on that game didn't have the time to put in all of the changes they put in to PLA into this game. So you have half implemented things from PLA that's in Scarlet Violet, which means the next game should have all the things from PLA and the good things from Scarlet Violet,
One can hope.
I guess. Anyway, the fact that I actually completed the Pokedex, I never do that.
Mm.
I only did that in PLA. That was the first time I ever did that. The fact that I was willing to do it in this game shows you just how much I actually, cared.
Yeah.
I'm having fun. It's just incredibly frustrating at the same time.
Mm.
Like, oh, hey, you can jump with your mount. Okay, there's like a second of input delay. And it's slow down every time I do it, so it feels like I'm jumping through molasses.
That's a weird thing to say.
Yeah. I feel like I'm jumping through sticky stuff. It feels sticky and slow.
Mm.
So yeah. Uh Pokemon. They're gonna do their best to fix it, and then probably release DLC that'll throw in a bunch of Pokemon that didn't make the cut, because it's a Pokedex of about 400.
Mm.
Exactly 400, actually.
What's the over under on Nemona being the focal point for the DLC stuff? Like, given how much of a smash hit she has been with pretty much everyone, I can kind of see them doing the DLC as, hey, she really wanted you to be as strong as she is, so now she is just hanging out with you all the time.
You get okay after you complete everything in the game. You get access to the dorm rooms of your various friends that helped you out.
That sounds
Oh,
creepy, but okay.
so you can go and you can just go chill with Nimona in a room. Um, and like you're all good friends and everything. Uh, specifically, it's Penny, Arvin, and Nimona are basically your friends that you make throughout the game.
Hmm.
Like they're not your friends at first, but you become friends with them as you go through different storylines.
Hmm.
And by the end, if you check a book in the school, which by the way, I almost forgot to mention, there's a whole school system where there's all these different classes, and the teachers have their own storylines, and they have their own. Some of them are former gym leaders and stuff, and it's really cool.
Hmm.
Um, but you go and check, and there's a Hall of Fame record, and your friends are listed as champion level, so you're all on the same level technically, which implies to me, because you and your friends basically are kind of like a group, and I imagine that any DLC will have you guys going together.
Hmm.
Not to mention, it is deeply implied that Nimona is still holding back because she doesn't fight you with her original team. She fights you with the team she raises specifically so that you can be on equal footing.
Yep.
Sorry, you're gonna say?
No, it's fine. No. You don't have to battle anyone else. You can just battle me. Forever and ever.
She loves it.
Yeah.
Like when she listens to you, she's like, "Great, that's awesome. You want to do a rematch right now? I want to try a different team. You want to go again?" You're just like, "Okay, yeah, sure." And everybody else is like, They're tired. Please, Ramona, just give them some time to rest." And Ramona's like, okay, I get it. All right, I'll be back later.
Hmm.
Oh, I love the characters.
Yeah.
Not even just like the gym leaders and the friends, but also the teachers as well.
Hmm.
Are really like well written, and I cared about them and the relationships they had with both each other and the gym leaders.
Hmm.
Because that was one thing that was sorely lacking in Sword and Shield was a lot of like character interaction,
Hmm.
and I feel like they solved that problem in Scarlet and Violet. Because
Well,
like
I
they had
mean,
all this interesting character writing, but it was all in the cards in Sword and Shield.
yeah. To be fair, character interaction is not really a thing I would say Pokemon is known for as a series.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really interesting step that they've decided to go in that direction. But I think talking smack about previous entries for not having that is maybe a little unfair, and that
It's
really wasn't the focus. Um, but
Sword.
it sounds like it very much it benefits from having it. I'm not going to say
Mm-hmm.
that's that's
The issue I had with Sword and Shield was that they had a lot of interesting like tidbits and lore and writing for the characters that was either reserved to either being in in the cards for in their trainer cards, or if you did like the extra tournament over and over and over again and had a chance of certain characters being teamed up, they might have a few lines of dialogue versus any of that being implemented in the main story because the main story was frightfully bland.
yeah. I mean, again, that's just Pokemon stories as they tend to go. So
No,
again,
they did a lot with Gen 7 though. Gen 7 had a really good character writing and a really good story.
Gen 7 is such an outlier that it feels weird that you would use that as the example.
I
Like,
have to use it because the thing that came after was Gen 8,
and the
you
thing
know?
that came before was Gen 6. Like, that was the same as all the other ones. Like, yes, Gen 7 had things that the other entries didn't, but it also completely fucking axed a bunch of shit that the previous entries always had.
Mm.
So it is such a weird, odd note in the series that I don't think it's really fair to use it as an example of what the series is and has been.
No, it's more like the direction the series was going and then suddenly a huge backpedal versus developing on the direction that they were working on.
I mean, yeah, people didn't like that all of the things that they liked about Pokemon were suddenly not part of Pokemon, so that's kind of an expected outcome for that. Is like, hey, whoops, gyms are back, guys.
I saw a lot of just positivity for Gen 7 though, even with like when they said there weren't going to be gyms, most people were like, "Oh, thank goodness." Um, but the thing I like in Scarlet and Violet, gyms are there, but they are not the sole focus, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
They are a thing that you do, but you also do a lot of other things that, you know, the world doesn't feel as empty because you have three different storylines happening with different events happening throughout the map that you are going and exploring.
yeah.
Which,
That feels like that was a thing in previous entries as well, but it wasn't treated as separate things. Like,
mhm.
if you look back at uh, Black and White and Black and White 2, which were the last ones that I played seriously, to be completely transparent. What it would be is you fight a gym leader and then you leave the gym and the plot would happen for like 5 minutes and then you would go on your merry way to do whatever is next, and it was all just one straight line. It didn't feel separate. All of
Yeah.
it just was a track that you were running on. Whereas this is it it doesn't sound like it's actually any different, but it has a different feel to it. Like,
You can do everything in whatever order you want.
but it is very clearly guiding you down a certain path of,
Yeah.
hey, do this then this if you want a tailored leveling experience, or you can just fucking fuck off and do the high level content, and I guess you steamroll everything forever from now on. If you really want to do that, you can. That tends to be how RPGs work. The good ones anyway, where they're not trying to like make it seem like a theme park and actually want it to feel like a world where things are more difficult in certain areas than others. Like,
Mm-hmm.
really, I really do prefer that system. Like, if you are tough enough to hang in the high level areas, even as a low level character, yeah, you probably should be curb stomping everything in the fucking game easily, because you would anyway.
Yeah. And not to mention, if you catch a high level Pokemon, you need the badges to be able to control it to begin with. So, you know, um, I do wish the catching from PLA was in here, but I understand why it's not. They have a new auto battling function where you can send out your Pokemon to auto battle things, and they drop materials, and you use materials to create TMs. Which means TMs are made from Pokemon.
Yeah. I love every video I see of people just letting out their Pokemon and suddenly the Pokemon goes on a murder spree. It is like just entirely accidentally. Like I love that shit. It's so stupid.
Oh, it's great.
He's got a thirst for blood.
Yeah, I love the new Pokemon. I think it's a great roster of Pokemon that they picked. I Man, please keep patching it. Please give it some much needed performance patches. Thank you. One other thing I want to mention as well, moving on from Pokemon for now. I watched an anime.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Bocchi the Rock?
No.
All right, Bocchi the Rock it's on like Crunchyroll. It is the story of a girl that has horrible, horrible social anxiety, crippling social anxiety, and she decides. She sees on TV one day an interview with some rock stars, and one of them's like, "Yeah, no, I used to be the introverted guy sitting back in the class, not really talking to anybody. But after I got this guitar and started playing, got this band." And she's just like, "Wait, Dad, let me borrow your guitar." And so she gets really, really good at guitar over the course of 3 years, expecting to make her a bunch of friends, only to find out no, she's still alone and socially anxious. She entering high school is like, I'm gonna make some friends, I'm gonna make a band, I'm gonna do this, and really good realistic portrayal of an introvert with like social anxiety. The animation is amazing. Bochi struggles with so much just trying to talk to people, but she's also extremely like genuine, and then like she does eventually, get in a band, and the writing's just really good. It's really good character writing, really good animation, and the music, the soundtrack is just, of course, it's a music anime. Awesome.
Okay. I have had a thought in my mind since you started talking about this and said the word social anxiety. There is a shadow that looms large over this show just from the basic description you just gave. Comey can't communicate.
Yes.
You're gonna have to hit the comparison button on that one, my dude. Like, I don't think it's fair that, like, it shouldn't feel like a rip off, but it kind of does, because you just don't see this as a particular facet of characters other than, hey, this is a minor side thing for a side character that they are socially anxious, but they're not actually socially anxious. We're just saying they are. It's not very common to see an actual main character be actually socially anxious. So the one other show that did it and really did it well, it kind of looms large over this one.
The comparison I would make here, both are very good, but both are trying to do very, I guess, different but similar things.
Okay.
Komi-san Can't Communicate is a series I really love. I really love the manga and everything. Komi is not. She's not our viewpoint character. Bochi is our viewpoint character, though. And we see everything from her perspective. The other characters, though, don't quite seem to always get it. And we can understand how that disconnect really comes. But whereas Comey is like, I am silent, I will not express a lot of the time. Bochi is incredibly expressive and is really fun to watch. The amount of faces that these that she has that they give her are fantastic. And you can see her whole thought process of imagining the worst possible case scenario, even though it's entirely unrealistic, and how it all leads to that. But, Bochi wants to be popular. She wants to be popular. She wants to be loved by everybody. Whereas Komi wants to make like 100 friends. But she's just like, yeah, no, I want to be. But she's like, I'm so sorry. My motivations are so impure. They're very different characters with very different motivations, even though they both have social anxiety. They both, I guess, handle it in different ways. And express themselves in different ways as well. Like, Comey can't even talk. Comey will write it down on the board. Bochi will start stammering and start saying things that sound like non sequiturs because her brain already skipped ahead to several stages, you know? And everybody's like, what? We don't follow. So I understand why you get the similarity, but I think they both handle the different aspects of social anxiety very well.
Fair enough.
I'm just in love with this series, and the soundtrack is again fire. Really good guitar, obviously, because Bochi is a guitarist who, for 3 years, was like practicing like 6 hours a day because she was that devoted to becoming popular, so that people would just approach her and talk to her about, oh man, guitar, right? You play guitar? And
Man,
yeah,
that naivete of like, hey, you play guitar? Yup. Cool. Bye. Like, I feel so bad for people who think that like playing an instrument makes you interesting. It doesn't. It's like saying you can draw. Like, okay, cool. That's a neat on its own, I guess, but it it's just trivia until you're doing things with it. So bye then.
once the band gets formed, there's one member that's an extrovert, and the others are all just kind of like, okay, yeah, no, let's go back. And she's just like, oh, you damn introverts. It's just like one extrovert, and then the rest of the band is just introverts, and it's great. Um, I love the
I
dynamics of the characters.
are they the bass player?
The bass player is not, but it's the singer who's the extrovert.
Ah, it's too basic. I was hoping for a Fall Out Boy kind of thing.
The bass player, meanwhile, she is uh, doesn't have much of many expressions, but she also has some of the best dialogue. And it's like she's so cool and mysterious. It's like no, she's actually an idiot, failing her lessons, wasteful with her money. It's always just spending it all as soon as she gets it on new instruments. Uh, you know, it's good characters. But like, you know, highly recommend Bochi the Rock. It like the animation really blends 2D and 3D very well when it comes to the actual like performances that the girls put on, and I think it's one of the best anime come out this year, to be honest. So
The high praise.
yeah,
I feel like you will have a fight on your hands for that opinion. But yeah,
it's one of the best.
cool.
I mean, there's a lot of good anime that has obviously been coming out, but I put this up there. You know, there's also a lot of bad anime that are things that
Man.
the anime still has the isekai problem.
Yeah, but it's not the hot shit that it used to be.
It's they got through some of the worst ones already, I will admit.
Yeah. By the way, hot shit. I mean, it's not like everyone watches all of it anymore, or not that they ever did, but like it's kind of burned itself out quite a bit. Like the audience just isn't there for it anymore.
I mean, if you want to go watch Black Summoner, one of the edgiest isekais, that's there.
Uh, I was gonna say redo of Healer exists, but I don't think that's isekai. Um,
No, it's a healer redoing everything,
yeah. Um,
hence the name.
well,
uh,
that Rise of the Shield hero doesn't exactly say, "Hey, I'm an isekai" either. But you
yeah,
know,
true.
um, so yeah, this year has been weird for anime. Like, we got Spy X Family, which is the most wholesome thing, and then we got fucking Chainsaw Man with the girl who doesn't wipe her ass or flush the toilet. Yep, this has been a year of extremes.
Yeah. Um, you also have, you know, sorry, I can't. I like Chainsaw Man is good. Um, I still need to catch up on the new season of Mob Psycho as well.
Is that third season? I assume.
It's the third season, yeah.
Yeah.
It's I don't think it's the last, but they could possibly finish it up because I know that I read the ending to the manga already. But yeah, that's about it for all of my stuff as far as I can call. I mean, Thanksgiving happened, but it wasn't really anything major. Just grandma got sick, so it was just my family, my immediate family, minus my grandma. She had COVID, but she wasn't actually symptomatic, so she likes staying at home anyways.
Turkey.
Very, very introverted. Oh, yeah, turkey was good. The stuffing was great. I was also just working super hard on stuff for a credentialing program and everything. So really busy week for me. Hence why I couldn't be on any podcasts. I was just busy working.
My turkey day is coming.
Your turkey day is coming?
Yeah.
Soon the turkey shall rise.
What do you guys eat for Christmas dinner?
Oh, my family? We have
Hmm.
lasagna.
Oh yeah, I think you've said before. That's fucking weird.
Yeah,
You know.
Italian origin. So usually what we have, but my dad has said he doesn't want to cook Christmas dinner this year. So we'll figure it out, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure.
We'll go out to eat, maybe. Why not?
Every culture seems to have their own idea of Christmas dinner.
And it's, the only thing we really agree on is that it's a big hearty meal.
Hmm. Yeah.
Gotta have a big old feast.
Or possibly a bucket if you're in Japan.
That KFC freaking ad campaign in the 80s was so
70s.
successful. 70s.
70s, yeah. I had to look this
It's
up because this was a part of a thing that I was doing.
so successful.
Yeah, the guy that came up with that became basically the CEO of KFC Japan. Deserved, in fairness.
Yeah, it's now the thing.
Yeah.
It is it is the thing that you get for Christmas for couples or for families even. It's
Families. It's not a couples thing. It's families.
fried chicken and a cake, some wine as well. Feel like a real American.
Well, that was the thing. It was supposed to be like expats in Japan, and hey, you can't go home, and there's not turkey is not a thing that people get in Japan. So chicken's close enough. That's literally the reasoning behind it.
Yeah,
It worked really
fair
well.
enough. There's
Everyone
a
latched onto it, not just the expats. So it became a thing.
Oh, there was also a second trailer for the Mario movie.
There was. I don't care. Like, it looks like they're doing the Lego movie again, but with Mario skin. Fine.
I mean, I'm excited for that Seth Rogen Donkey Kong battle. And hmm, it's weird. I never thought that I would see. Oh, I'm being yelled at. Hold on one second.
Hmm. So, now that I have your undivided attention, audience, how did you enjoy the fan service in the Mario movie trailer? Was it good? Get a charge out of seeing like uh, Rainbow Road and such, and a platforming sequence. Platforming, you guys. Yeah. Jumping on things on a 2D plane. That's the hotness for like movie magic and such. Totally all about it. Woo! Isn't it great that Mario is bad at being Mario?
All right. Well, I'm back.
Hello.
I think we gotta wrap this up for now. I'm being called away.
Okay, do you have time to read the Patreon thing, or is
It
that
has
gonna have
not
to
gone
wait?
through yet.
It hasn't got. Okay, that makes it easier.
Goes through tomorrow.
Yeah, Mario movie looks like shitty fan service. I don't care. That's the
Hmm?
conclusion of what I was just talking about to the audience.
Oh, cool.
Um, so this abrupt ending. Patreon link in the description. Discord link in the description. Thanks everybody. Bye
Yeah.
everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.